Okay, magandang araw. Saka magandang umaga, magandang hapon, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Salamat pagi, salamat patang, salamat malam. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Nandito naman po sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Welcome sa programa natin ngayon. Today is February 4th. No? And today is Tuesday. What a beautiful Tuesday po. So today's topic natin is on the hot issue na naman po dyan sa Pilipinas tungkol or regarding ang impeachment ni VP Sara, Vice President Sara Duterte po. May tatlong impeachment complaints already submitted dyan sa opisina ni Velasco, ang Secretary General ng House of Representatives. And of course, they were saying na maghintay pa raw sa the fourth impeachment complaint. Pero hanggang ngayon po, nothing happened sa, sabihin natin, itong fourth complaint. And some people were saying dribbling lang daw po, no? Nagdi-dribble lang daw po itong impeachment complaints of VP Sara, and some are not happy. And if you notice, last week, marami na po, nag-rally na po dyan sa last Friday yata yun. Nag-rally na po dyan sa Manila, sa EDSA Shrine, tungkol calling for the impeachment of VP Sara. Ituloy daw po yun, impeachment of VP Sara. But others are saying also na hindi pa ang panahon. Hintayin na lang daw sa new 20th Congress, no, after the election. So ano kaya talaga po ang mangyari sa issue ni VP Sara. At the same time, ang second topic natin po is very important din, dahil po I will be touching a little bit on the schedule. Sabihin natin na TRICOM hearing scheduled today dyan sa Kongreso po, no? Sa Kongreso, and that TRICOM committee, they will be talking about this issue of fake news. Fake news daw po, no? Medyo some lawmakers are not happy, and they are saying that it is only but right to protect the interest and welfare of every Filipinos when it comes to itong spread of fake news po, or misinformation po, given to the public. And of course, some 40 bloggers, 40 bloggers are invited, have been invited to attend the hearing today. I don't know what time mag-start ang hearing, 9 o'clock ba yun or 10 o'clock, but it will be definitely basing from the number of resource persons that the committee, TRICOM committee invited, 40 of them, 38 or 40 of them po. I don't think so it will just take 1 or 2 hours. It will be a longer session po, or hearing po, or investigation. But is it correct? Sabihin natin, proper, logic to, sabihin natin, conduct this investigation tungkol sa fake news? Kasi karamihan ng mga invitations given to the bloggers are identified, no? Identified supporting the former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Duterte po. And I don't think so. Not even one of the vloggers identified with the Marcos administration na invited po. Although ang Meta and NBI and other local authorities were also invited to attend the hearing today to shed light po, no, on how to regulate daw itong so-called dissemination of misinformation, and sabihin natin po itong so-called fake news. Now, is it violating the right of the people, freedom of speech or not? Kayo na po, bahala po. But one thing sure, I'm going to monitor and watch itong hearing today. Kaya nga po, I start my blogging today early po, no? It won't take long because I will be watching itong investigation o TRICOM hearing po scheduled today dyan sa Kongreso po. Okay, let's start ang first topic natin regarding sa impeachment of VP Sara po. Yung tatlong impeachment complaint submitted dyan po sa opisina ni Secretary General Velasco, no? Reginald Velasco. And let's listen to this news first po. First and foremost, let's listen to this news. And for you to be able to get the picture of the idea or the topic that I am bringing you today dito sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Ito po, let's listen po. Let's listen.
Complaints will be transferred or not.
Hold on, ha?
This amidst calls from some.
Ito po. Let's listen to this.
Ang kanta nga habang may buhay, di ba? Anything is possible.
House Secretary General Reginald Velasco firmly stated the 3 impeachment complaints filed against Vice President Sara Duterte at the House of Representatives are not dead. This amidst calls from some groups for the lawmakers to act on it the soonest possible time before the session break. In an interview, Velasco said the complaints will be transmitted to the House Speaker's office this week. It took a bit longer as they tried to wait for a possible 4th complaint to be filed, but
As of now, wala pa eh. So, I think we have given them enough time. So, we will have to transmit the impeachment complaints within this week.
Gabriela Party's Representative Arlene Brosas, one of the endorsers of the 2nd impeachment complaint, said, but if not now, they believe it might not make it through at all.
Kung may 4th complaint, actually willing to wait naman kami for the 4th complaint. Kasi yun yung mahalaga eh. Magkaroon talaga ng mas pinakamaraming magsusuporta dito sa impeachment complaints.
It's the last session week of Congress before they go on break for the midterm elections. That's why committee hearings were held left and right today.
Yan po ang announcement ni sabihin natin Secretary General ng Congress si Reginald Velasco. Now, yes, we were made to understand that it will be transmitted. The 3 impeachment complaint will be transmitted to the office of the Speaker anytime this week. Anytime this week. So, if you look at it, ang schedule, sessions ng Kongreso po, is only, I think, if I'm not mistaken, until tomorrow po. Tapos, they're going to go for recess na po. And I think they will be coming back sa June na, no? Sa June na. So, mayroon pa bang panahon? Mayroon pa bang time to look into this? And, if you look at it, ang proseso, unless, even though if you take the shortcut po, no? Yun, 103 or 1/3 signatures na kailangan po, no? Ang Kongreso to push itong impeachment complaint sa Senado, I don't think so they have enough time po. But anything could happen, no? Anything could happen. Depende na lang yan po sa Speaker of the House, which I'm referring to Representative or Speaker Martin Romualdez po. Delay na ito po. Na-delay na yata ito mga 2 months na po because the first complaint was filed or submitted sa office ni Velasco last December 2nd, if I am not mistaken. But if I'm wrong, maybe it's somewhere there, first week of December. And today, naka-February 4 na tayo po. Ibig sabihin, 2 months na po, delayed ito. Dili-dali lang sila po ang complaint. Because one of the reasons is that they are waiting for the, sabihin natin, ang 4th complaint, which some lawmakers earlier, according to Velasco, that they are seriously contemplating of supporting itong 4th complaint. But hanggang ngayon po, wala pa ang 4th complaint. So, ito ang sitwasyon. But anyway, ang those who filed the complaint, especially ang mga authors, mga sponsors po, no? They are still not losing hope po. They are hoping that itong impeachment complaint or procedure will still push through during this 19th Congress. Patuloy ba yan po o hindi? I don't know. No? I don't know. But the way how I look at it now, parang malabo yata po. No? Malabo, but still anything can happen. Kaya sabi ni Velasco, abang buhay, mayroon pa rin hope, na? Mayroon pa rin hope. So, let's see. Let's see po. But, according to one of the impeachment supporters of one of the impeachment complaints against VP Sara, he strongly believe na hindi pa panahon for the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte po. Sana lang doon po itong impeachment complaint ano na lang ito sa 20th Congress po after the election. And who is talking po? And I am referring to no other than the former senior justice natin po dyan sa Pilipinas, si former senior justice Antonio Carpio po, si Antonio Carpio. Now, may mga punto siya and he explained during an interview dyan sa Manila just recently, and siguro po, I believe, kailangan din tayo po. I will share this video clip that I recorded, para at least may idea kayo po. Bakit si former senior justice Antonio Carpio still believe na hindi pa ang panahon ngayon. Hindi pa ang panahon ngayon dahil wrong timing na po. Darating na ang eleksyon. And let's listen to his explanation po during the interview. Ang si former senior justice Antonio Carpio, and he is the One Sambayang leader po, So let's listen to this. Medyo medyo mahaba kunti, but it's worthwhile listening po. So let's listen to this. You hold on.
Tapusin na lang itong investigation.
Hold on, And I will make it very clear sa inyo po. I'll try to make it a close up sa inyo. Close up itong interview po para at least you can properly see and hear ang discussion ni Antonio Carpio or former senior justice Antonio Carpio regarding the issue of impeachment against Sara or Vice President Sara Duterte. Nandito po, let's listen to this.
Don't file it now because you cannot act within, kasi mag-expire yung Senate So there will be a new Senate. So you have to refile it.
Start from zero.
Oo, magsa-start ng zero. Sabihin ni Sara, expired na yung Senate. So, they have to start all over again. It raises so many questions. So, mabuti pa, tapusin na lang itong investigation. Let's get that testimony of the two military aides.
In this case, pwede mo nang matulog sa Office of the SecGen yung tatlong impeachment complaints.
Well, pwedeng matulog, but that can be revived. Kasi yung Congress will expire by June 30 of this year. All pending matters in the House of Representatives are deemed dismissed.
Yeah.
You have to refile it anew in the next Congress. So lahat yung mga unfinished business deemed terminated. So you have to refile it. So you have to refile it again
Okay.
So but if you already the impeachment complaint reached already the Justice Committee, you cannot refile it within 1 year
Yung 1 year ban kasi hindi pwedeng within the same year, i-impeach mo na naman. Impeachable officer. Yung pinag-uusapan po namin na ban, no? So, ang position nyo sa next Congress na.
Yes, next Congress nga, parang klaro.
May complaints.
In the meantime, you complete now your your evidence.
Kasi may isa pong school of thought, others are pushing for this. Simulan na yung proseso rito, tapos yung concept nila, continuing Senate.
Yes, yun ang that you have to do that kasi ang theory ng continuing Senate is that the Senate does not expire unlike the House.
Dahil 12.
Kasi 12, but yung 12 cannot even elect their officers because you need 13. Dati, it was a continuing Senate because one-third lang. You elect only one-third of the Senate every election. So, definitely more than the majority remain. But ngayon, 12 eh. And 12 is not a majority.
So may tulog din yung concept.
Yes, yung concept na yun can lose in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court could say, it's not a continuing because there's no majority. They cannot even elect their officers. You need 13 to elect officers. And the reason for that, that's why in the Senate, every 6 years, they have to adopt all their rules. Every time, after every Senate election, the new Senate will re-adopt all the rules as if all the rules expired. Which is what the House does, no? All the rules of the House are re-adopted by the new House. Kasi patay na the old House has expired. The new House will have to adopt its own rules. Ganyan din sa Senado. So you cannot say there's continuity because if there's continuity, you don't re-adopt the rules.
So dito, ang iniisip nyo, mas maganda i-firm up yung cases
Yes.
in the meantime and then file them in the new Congress.
Yes, in the new Congress. Kasi
Pinag-uusapan po natin legal and procedural, pero how about the political aspect? And of course, yung communication aspect, yung fear na pag pinatagal ito, baka yung momentum mapunta na kay Sara Duterte.
well, that's why I said we will demand the testimony of the two. Lalaking issue yan. Pag sinabi nila, binigay namin kay Sara. And then, we go to the election with that in mind, no? So, at saka, with that, it does not prevent the administration from filing a plunder case. They can file a plunder case. Kasi iba yung plunder, iba yung impeachment. And if it's a plunder case, pag matibay yung ebidensya mo, non-bailable.
Pero so far, dun sa mga grounds na binabanggit ng mga complainants, do you see na ito talaga dapat ma-impeach because of what she did? Example po yung threat to kill the president.
Well, based on the confidential funds alone is enough. And if you get the testimony of the two, you can also file a plunder case.
It shouldn't stop with the impeachment.
So, if you look carefully, well, of course, naturally, dapat ituloy yung impeachment. But if you look carefully, lalamang si Sara because she becomes immunized for 1 year. It will be to her advantage actually, and you cannot get 2/3 from the Senate, from the incumbent Senate.
Yun ang basa niya.
Yeah, you cannot get 2/3.
Hindi makaka-16.
Hindi
Contradiction.
So, wala rin. And if if the case is dismissed because you don't get the 16, sasabihin niya, I've been exonerated.
Yeah, magagamit niya
Magagamit niya. So, you have to think also of the result, no? So, that's why I said, tibayan muna natin. Because we started this in the Supreme Court because this is connected with political dynasties. Right now, you have the mayor of Davao. Every year, he or she gets about $500 million in confidential fund. That $500 million, he just liquidates it the way Sara liquidated it. And because of that, they can never lose in an election. They can never lose. You have 3 years of that, 1.5 billion. You can never lose an election. That's the strength of the Dutertes, the confidential fund. And inisabayan, we're worried because ginaya ng Makati. Makati also created their own confidential fund for the mayor. Ginaya ng Quezon City. nagkaroon rin silang confidential fund. If all the mayors, the governors will create their own confidential fund, that will entrench the political dynasties.
Using public money.
Using public money. That's why I said, we are all against political dynasty. Ito yun. We can stop the spread of political dynasties by asking the Supreme Court to declare unconstitutional all confidential funds because there is no implementing law. Unless there is a law providing for reasonable limitations, wala yun eh.
Oo, kasi ngayon memorandum circular lang.
Yeah, memorandum. Yeah, and the general rule will apply. There must be full disclosure how they spend.
Okay.
So yun ang sabi namin kay Sara, you have to fully disclose. Kasi pag full disclosure, hindi nila magagawa ito.
Pabubuking ka pa
Pabubuking sila.
Nag-doktor ka.
Kaya nga ito nga, nandiyo na.
Okay, very interesting. Justice Carpio, maraming salamat po as always. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay po, yon explanation ni Justice Carpio, no? Antonio Carpio po regarding itong issue ng impeachment ni VP Sara. Very clear po, sabi niya, no? Hintayin na lang ang new Congress po, the 20th Congress po after the election, no? Yon ang sabi niya dahil may mga puntos talaga si Antonio Carpio, Justice Antonio Carpio po when it comes to this issue. But there is one thing only I just want to comment, no? Regarding bakit si ang Duterte, mga Duterte always win in the election. Hindi po dahil sa confidential funds po. For me, this is my own opinion. I strongly believe hindi dahil po sa confidential funds. You are insinuating that they are using this money, these confidential funds to make sure that every election they will use it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Siguro this is how I look at it. Parang it will use in the election, parang vote buying or whatever la. I'm sorry po. Siguro mali ako po, no? But that's how I understand when a former senior Justice Antonio Carpio made the statement, no? Which I have shown to you just a few seconds ago po, no? The reason why the Dutertes, si Digong, the former president of the Philippines, si Sara, si Baste, si Polong Duterte, they won in the election. It is not because of money. They won because the voters, the Filipinos, believe on their leadership po. May action po. They are not only talking, but they also act. They turn the words into action. And it has been proven. It has been proven na very effective ang leadership ng mga Duterte. And hanggang ngayon, ang mga tao is still shouting the comeback of the Dutertes. Hindi po sa pera po. Hindi yung kagaya sa mga ibang politicians, they give cash assistance po. Cash assistance left and right. And of course, that cash assistance is coming from the public. Taxpayers' money yun po. But they are using it. They are using it parang sa kanila yan po. Galing sa kanila yan po. Yun lang ang comment ko po regarding the statement of former Senior Justice Antonio Carpio po. And I look at it, parang may kunting sabihin natin political color po ang statement niya when it comes to the confidential funds. Sa inyo po, what do you think? Depende na po. Is your opinion na we have a freedom of speech and it is your right to you have the wisdom. It's your right to think otherwise po. Siguro mali ako po. And kung sakali mali ako, 1,000 apology to everybody po. But this is how I look at it, coming from looking things from the outside. Kasi nandito ako po sa Malaysia, wala ako dyan sa Pilipinas. And based on official informations or news provided to the Filipinos dyan sa Pilipinas and of course sa iba-ibang or sa mundo po. Sa mundo. Okay, next topic na tayo po, na, because I will be watching itong TRICAM hearing scheduled this morning. And definitely, as what I said, it will be a long one. It will be a long one. Okay, for you to have an idea about the TRICAM TRICAM hearing po, no? Tatlong committees ito po, no? That's why we call it TRI, no? Committees. Now, for you to have an idea, ano talaga ito po, let me show you a video clip po. A video clip din po dyan sa Manila, especially sa social media platform po. Let's listen and kayo na po bahala. Walang personalan dito po, trabaho lang ito. And my work is to disseminate news sa mga, sabihin natin, sa mga followers ko po, sa mga viewers ko po, so that they will be able to have a clear picture of what is happening dyan sa Pilipinas, especially ang mga controversial issues. Let's listen to this po. Let's listen to this.
Ngayong Martes, February 4, 2025, nakatakdang isagawa ang unang hearing ng House of Representatives TRI Committee upang suriin ang paglaganap ng fake news at disinformation sa social media. Ayon kay Laguna Representative Dan Fernandez, na siyang namumuno sa Komite sa Public Order and Safety, inimbitahan ang 40 social media personalities at representatives ng iba't ibang online platforms upang dumalo sa pagdinig. Layunin ng investigasyon na suriin kung paano kumakalat ang maling impormasyon online, ano ang epekto nito sa pananaw ng publiko at pambansang seguridad, at kung anong hakbang ang maaaring gawin upang labanan ito. Sinabi ni Fernandez, karapatan ng mga Pilipino na malaman ang katotohanan. Dapat natin silang protektahan laban sa kapwa Pilipino na nagpapakalat ng maling impormasyon na nagdudulot ng takot at pagkakawatak-watak sa lipunan. Dagdag pa niya, tatalakayin ng mga representatives mula sa iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno ang mga hamon sa regulasyon at pagpapatupad ng batas laban sa online disinformation. Sa unang executive briefing ng komite, ilan sa mga pangunahing isyong pag-uusapan ay paano matitiyak ang transparency ng social media platforms sa pagtukoy at pagtanggal ng maling impormasyon. Pananagutin ng mga paulit-ulit na lumalabag, kabilang ang mga irresponsableng vloggers at influencers. Epekto ng disinformation sa pambansang seguridad, lalo na kaugnay ng West Philippine Sea dispute. Paalala ni Representative Fernandez sa publiko, maging mapanuri at mapagmatsyag sa impormasyong nakikita at ibinabahagi online. Kabilang sa mga inimbitahan ng TRICOM ay ang tanyag na political scientist at advisor na si Malu Tiquia at ang veteranong journalist na si Jay Sonza. Binigyan din ng imbitasyon ang philanthropist na kinadidiliwan ng marami na si Chris Chu at ang kanyang kaibigan na isa ring kilalang humanitarian na si MJ Kiambao Reyes. Inaasahan din na umattend ang maalam at palaban na dating NTF-ELCAC spokesperson na si Dr. Lorin Badoy, na sasamahan din ng kanyang kapwa representative sa tumatakbong ipanaw party list na si Jeffrey Celis, aka Kaeri. Meron ding imbitasyong natanggap ang madunong at mapanuri na abogado na si Attorney Trixie Cruz Angeles, pati ang kanyang kasamahan na si Ahmed Paginawan at ang kapwa abogado na si Attorney Glenn Cho. Kasama din sa listahan ay ang dalubhasa at matalinong international relations scholar na si Sas Rugando Sasot. Kabilang din ang mga matatapang na hosts ng Isemenay na sina Banat Bay, Boss Dada at MG Mondehar. Ang mga hinahangaang informative political live streamers na sina Joy DeVeviv at Maui Spencer ay kasama din, pati na rin si Maricar Serrano at Mark Anthony Lopez. Ang mapagmalasakit na senatorial aspirant na si Dr. Richard Mata ay kabilang din sa mga naimbitahan, kasama na rin ang isa pang magaling na manggagamot na si Dr. Etel Pineda. Ang mga may-ari ng mga social media blogs na Old School Pinoy, Chu Moreno, Coco Locoy, Optic Politics, I Am Shanwin, Political Witch Boy, Mr. Real Talker, at ang WhatsApp Philippines ay inanyayahan din na dumalo sa hearing. Ang mga tanyag at matatapang na kritiko na sina Miss Vivian Velez at Miss Kathy Dinag ay na-invite din. At syempre painaasahan ng lahat na makakatanggap din ng invitation ang matapang na boljakera na si Maharlika. Kasama din sa 40 personalities na na-invite ay sina Professor Claro Ganak, ex-NBI agent Jonathan Morales, Ernesto Abinjes, Ibi Hugalbot, Jeffrey Cruz, Alvin Montero, Edwin Hamora, Ryan Lingo at si Attorney Insurrecto. Kung mapapansin natin, ang karamihan sa listahan ay binubuo ng mga kritiko ng current admin o mga Duterte supporters. Wala sa listahan ang mga nagkalat na clickbaiters at ragebait accounts sa social media na silang talagang mga nagpapakalat ng fake news in favor or kontra man sa administrasyon. Ang investigasyong isasagawa ng Kongreso laban sa mga bloggers ay kinu-question ng maraming tagapagtanggol ng press freedom. Ayon sa kanila, posibleng ito ay isang anyo ng censorship na lumalabag sa Article 3, Section 4 ng Saligang Batas ng Pilipinas na nagagarantiya ng malayang pagpapahayag o freedom of speech. Bukod dito, lumilitaw na may pagpili ng target sa investigasyon, kung saan karamihan sa mga ipapatawag ay mga kilalang personalities na may koneksyon o suporta sa dating administrasyong Duterte. Ayon sa mga kritiko, kung tunay na layunin ng Kongreso ang paglaban sa disinformation, bakit hindi kasama sa mga inimbitahan ang iba pang influencers mula sa iba't ibang political factions na umano din ay nagpapakalat ng maling impormasyon? Ang pagsasama rin sa pagdinig ng mga representatives mula sa Google, Meta at TikTok ay nagbibigay daan sa posibilidad ng pag-blacklist ng ilang personalidad na maaaring humantong sa limitasyon ng kanilang online presence. Ayon sa ibang mga kritiko, ang ganitong hakbang ay maaaring magdulot ng chilling effect kung saan maaaring matakot ang ibang mamamayan na magpahayag ng kanilang opinyon dahil sa takot na mapasailalim din sila sa investigasyon. Ito ay direktang kabaligtaran sa diwa ng isang demokratikong lipunan. Sa ilalim ng international law, partikular ang Article 19 ng International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, protektado ang karapatan sa free speech. Ang mga limitations dito ay maaari lamang ipataw sa mga kaso ng hate speech o direktang banta sa national security. At ayon sa mga experts, hindi sakop nito ang ordinaryong political opinion sa social media. Ayon din sa opinyon ng mga kritiko, ang malayang discussions sa social media ay mahalaga sa isang malusog na demokrasya. Kapag ang Estado ang nagdidikta kung ano ang tama at mali na pananaw, nawawala ng saysay ang kalayaang magpahayag at nagiging kontrolado ang impormasyon. Habang magsisimula na ang pagdinig sa Kongreso, marami ang nagtatanong, ito ba ay isang lehitimong hakbang against disinformation o isang pagtatangkang patahimikin ang ilang personalidad sa social media, partikular ang mga kilalang Duterte supporters? Ano sa tingin ninyo? Please feel free na ibahagi.
Okay, yun po, no? At least you will have an idea now. Now you have the idea. Ano talaga itong TRICOM hearing to be conducted this morning po, no? This morning, dyan sa Kongreso po. So, as what I said, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to monitor it and make sure that whatever transpired doon po, no? I will be recording it and some video clips I'm going to share it to you in my next episode. But before concluding this Tuesday episode natin po, February 4, sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, I would like to share with you my last video po, ang comment din po ni aspirant, no? Aspirant for senator, si Attorney Vic Rodriguez po, no? Si Attorney Vic Rodriguez also knows about, has a knowledge about the legal aspect of this, sabihin natin na issue, fake news po, no? This information, given to the public. So let's listen to Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Sandali po. Okay. Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Hold on.
Dahan-dahan, maging marahan.
Para klaro lang po, no? I'm not signing anybody here. I just wanted to make sure that hindi fake news ito in my blogging po, no? Blogging page. Ito po.
Ating saligang batas, Article 3, Section 4, that no law shall be passed, no law, walang batas, shall be passed, abridging the freedom of speech of expression or of the press. Check nyo po iyan, pati yung mga mambabatas na nagpapatawag ng hearing. Dahan-dahan, maging marahan. Tingnan po ninyo, yung constitutional provision, Article 3, Section 4, malinaw po yan. No law, walang batas ang pahihintulutang ipasa na siyang kikitil, magbabawas o dili kaya pipigil sa kalayaan sa pananalita, sa pagpapahayag at pagbabalita. Bawal yan. Bawal yan. Anyway, it's just an invitation. Wala lang ako sa Maynila ngayon. Soon, I'll be back. But I'd like to extend my support and solidarity doon sa mga miyembro ng tinatawag na new media. Tayo po ay protektado sa ilalim ng ating saligang batas. In fact, kahit sa Estados Unidos, kinilala na ng Office of the Press Secretary ng White House yung kahalagahan ng papel na ginagampanan ng tinatawag nating new media. At sinasabi, yung mga perceived violation daw o paano malabanan ang fake news, alam ninyo, andyan ang ating mga batas sa libelo at cyber libel. Kung sa tingin ninyo, kayo ay nalibelo o biktima kayo ng cyber libel ng mga irresponsableng miyembro ng traditional or even new media, idemanda ninyo. Pero yung sasabihin mong investigation in aid of legislation, sinasabi na nga ng ating saligang batas, Article 3, Section 4, pakibasa, no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, and of the press. Malinaw yan. Malinaw yan. Walang batas ang may pwedeng ipasa. At kung kayo mag-iimbestiga, let me just remind you, andyan ang ating NBI. Andyan ang ating police. If you think biktima kayo ng isang criminal act or violation, tumungo kayo sa stasyon ng police. Diyan sa labas ng batasan, no? Nandyan yung stasyon ng police, mag-file kayo ng reklamo, paimbestigahan ninyo. O ipatawag ninyo yung anti-cyber crime group, pagreklamo kayo, yung NBI, o kaya dumiretso na kayo, paggawa kayo ng affidavit, sampahan ninyo yung sa tingin ninyong nag-violate ng inyong karapatan at pagkatao at dignidad, sampahan nyo sa piskalya ng Quezon City o kung saan man ninyo gustong sampahan. Pero hindi kayo pwedeng mag-imbestiga ng isang perceived criminal action for the purpose of pananagutin ninyo, magdedemanda kayo. Hindi kayo pulis, hindi kayo NBI, hindi kayo piskal, at higit sa lahat, hindi kayo huwes na maaaring maghusga kung sino ang guilty at sino hindi guilty. Karapatan ng mga miyembro ng traditional media at new media at yan po ay kinikilala at may garansya at nakaukit sa ating saligang batas. No law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press. Yan po, pati pagkikitil o pagbabawal sa ating malayang pagtitipon-tipon at payapang pagpapahayag ng ating saloobin at damdamin laban sa mga maraming maling proseso, polisiya at panantayan ng gobyerno. Bawal po iyan.
Okay, bawal po yan, sabi ni Attorney Vic Rodriguez, who is aspiring, aspirant yun po, to be part of the, sabihin natin na senator natin po dyan sa Pilipinas after ang May 12 election po, no? After ang May 12 election. Okay, for your information, I have one news dito po, para sa mga Marcos supporters, sa mga Duterte supporters po. I just want to share with you itong news. Shoutout muna tayo kay Snoogie Apolinario, is also watching my program. I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening kung nasan man si Snoogie Apolinario, be it in the Philippines or maybe abroad on holiday pa. Chinese New Year holiday pa si Snoogie, no? Anyway, God bless you, Snoogie, as well as same wishes goes to your wife and to your daughter, no? Ingat lang kayo palagi and make sure that you continue yon golf mo, no? Golf activities mo. I always watch your Facebook posting din po, no? Si Snoogie Apolinario and all the Apolinario clan members. Okay. So, here is another story. about Marcos and Duterte po. And this time around, I just want to share with you itong sabihin natin survey. Marcos Duterte's trust rating po. Marcos Duterte's trust rating. Okay, sandali Okay, saan ito? Alright, sandali lang talaga. Okay, sandali lang talaga. Alright. For the information of my viewers, my followers po, no? I just wanted to inform everybody na a social welfare station or SWS survey commissioned on Monday, February 3, revealed that the trust rating of a country's top-ranking officials declined in the month of January. According to a survey commissioned by Stratbase and conducted from January 17 to 20, SWS noted that the trust rating of President Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte saw a decline, with the President and the Vice President garnering 50% and 49% trust rating respectively. Ito ang latest po. The survey showed that the percentage of people who had little trust in the president remained almost unchanged, increasing slightly from 25% in December 2024 to 26% in January 2025. Those who were undecided, on the other hand, rose from 19% to 22% during the same period. Based on the Commission survey, the strongest support for the President in January came from Valens Luzon, with 60% backing him, although this was a 6% decrease compared to December 24. Meanwhile, the same survey noted that the highest level of distrust in the president was recorded in Mindanao, where 36% of respondents expressed little trust in Marcos. For Duterte, the survey showed that her trusting rating decreased from 52% in December last year to 49% in January this year. The survey results shows that Duterte remained the most trusted in Mindanao, with 78% expressing much trust. However, this indicated a 5% decline from her rating in the region in December last year. Based on the SWS Commission survey, the highest percentage of people with little trust in the Vice President was recorded in Valens Luzon, where 41% expressed distrust in January. This marked a 4% increase from December last year. The survey, the Stratbase WS January 2025 pre-election survey included 1,800 respondents po. Yon ang latest natin po. Tungkol sa survey, ang rating, trust rating ng dalawang top officials natin po dyan sa Pilipinas. Dyan po sa Pilipinas. So, reminder lang po sa mga kandidato natin, sa mga supporters ng mga kandidato natin, be it senatorial, be it congressional, be it the other local positions po like governor, vice governor, assemblyman ba kung mayroon, city and municipal mayors and vice mayors, as well as ang mga city and municipal councilors ba. Ang official campaign period for the senatorial and party list will start on February 11 po, February 11, and that will be end of this week, if I'm not mistaken. End of this week, if I'm not mistaken. And for the other official candidates, ang campaign period nila po will start on March 28. March 28. So ingat lang, ingat lang. Do not violate the campaign period rules and regulations to avoid unnecessary problems po. Kagaya people will be filing disqualification complaint against itong mga kandidato for violating the campaign period regulations po. And of course, siguro po, dahan-dahan ng mga kandidato, wait for the campaign period para mayroon pa rin kayong mga bala or bullets po, when the campaign period will officially start. Sa ngayon, hold on muna tayo po ang natin. And let's do our, sabihin natin, ang trabaho muna tayo po. Mayroon din panahon para sa kampanya, mayroon din panahon para sa trabaho po because you are elected officials ng bayan natin po. So yon ang reminder natin sa mga kandidato, sa mga voters din po. Lend your ears to the candidates, listen to what they say, attend their forums, attend their campaign sorties, and observe them and judge them. Don't simply believe ang mga ibang tao. They will tell you, banalo na yun kasi popular yun, pogi yun, or ano ba, mayaman yun, or ano ba. Kayo po, you make a wise decision because hindi itong biro po ang election natin po. It will determine ang futuro ng buhay natin po, buhay ng mga anak natin po, at saka ang futuro ng bayan natin po, ang Pilipinas, which all of us say we love the Philippines. So hanggang dito na lang po ang episode ko for Tuesday, February 14. Sana lang po, maski paano, I managed to extend whatever informations I have today. So with this, I would like to say I will continue to monitor itong TRICAM hearing today, and tomorrow I will make sure that you will have some updates regarding itong hearing scheduled today dyan sa Kongreso. With this, Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. God bless us all. Malaysia, Sabah, and the Philippines, I love you and see you tomorrow. Bye.